We're good.
Call meeting to order. Shelley, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, thank you. District 1, Councilman Rios is excused. District 2, Councilman Pastor.
Present.
District 3, Councilman Lethem.
Present.
District 4, Vice Mayor Stapleton.
Here.
District 5, Councilman Gonzalez.
Here.
District 6, Councilman Shipley.
Here.
Mayor Gameros.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Shelley. Fernando, can you send the invocation, please?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Lord, thank you for this day that we can be here to do your work. Please help us to make the best decisions possible to help our community. We especially want to thank all our staff and our community partners and everyone who's dedicated time, energy, and effort to helping our community. Please help us with our appeal to FEMA, and we thank you for the leaders that got FEMA to come back out and look at our community again. So hopefully we will get a favorable result. And thank you, and help us to work together as a community and to respect each other as human beings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mike, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Sure, Mayor, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will turn the gavel over to Vice Mayor Stapleton. He'll open the City of Globe Municipal Property Corporation meeting.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Municipal Property Corporation meeting. I just want to take a moment to explain what the city's Municipal Property Corporation is and why it's being discussed at this time. The corporation is a legal tool the city established back in 2007 to support and finance city projects. While it has existed for many years, it has not been actively used to advance any of projects. As the city faces increasing infrastructure needs and financial complexity, we are taking a fresh look at the tools that already exist to help us plan responsibly. Importantly, this is not about creating something new or moving forward without oversight. Before any use of the corporation, we are updating outdated bylaws, clarifying roles and authority, and ensuring full transparency and alignment with council direction and public accountability. Our intent is to thoughtfully position this tool so it can be used if and when appropriate to support the city's priorities in a clear, responsible, and transparent manner. So as of right now, the board of directors are current officers. I'm the president of the corporation. The vice president is Councilman Rios, and the secretary is Councilman Gonzalez. So we have suggested new board members, and the recommendations for the nominations and appointment are James Menlove, Ben Locklear, Steve Stratton, Robin Bradford, and Susan Guerrero. So do I have any questions from the council or any comments? Do we have anything? No, nothing? Okay. Yeah, I need a motion to appoint the 5 new members.
I would move to appoint them as presented.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second, a call for the vote.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just so you know, by appointing these 5 new members, that will clear that will remove the U7 as current members, because we are switching to a 5-member structure.
And this is also recommended by our legal counsel too, that we should
Correct,
not do
right.
the.
It's a wonderful tool that we
Right.
put in place. We've been keeping it alive. When we're getting close to using it here, we did some updates based on the changing of the, of law and the current situation. And so that's what's been driving this.
I think it's kind of like how the other boards are, like HPAC and what have you, where we're not the board anymore, so. This is exactly the same way as how they are running. Any other comments?
Mike over there might have a comment?
Yeah, could you give me the names again?
Yeah.
I don't like that test.
So the first one's James Menlove,
Okay,
Ben Locklear, Steve Stratton, Robin Bradford, and then Susan Guerrero. If you'd like a copy of this, I can give you a copy as well.
And our victims are willing?
Yeah,
That's what I was just gonna ask, yeah, they've all agreed.
yeah, they've all agreed to be members of the board. So I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Nay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
There you go, Mary.
Thank you, Mike.
Close,
Close the
close
meeting.
it.
Okay, close the meeting and go on to, yeah, put your hand there.
Here you go. Get that over with.
Bring my gavel.
Oh, you should see me when you're not here.
So we'll go to summary of current events, and Mariano, we'll start with you down there.
Mr. Mayor, you attended the Affinity Veterans meeting yesterday, and I want to thank you on behalf of Globe Miami Elks for attending. The mayor passed out an award to Linda Merlin, who's a dedicated volunteer of that group. She drives all over the valley, as well as supporting veterans functions here in Globe Miami. And because of that, that group wanted to have her recognized for her diligence in promoting the access to healthcare needs of the veterans. And so I made a request to the mayor, and the mayor put together, with Shelley's help, a proclamation honoring her. And I will tell you, Mr. Mayor, that was the hardest secret to keep. It's hard to keep a secret in Globe Miami, but she was surprised, so that she was speechless, which is rare. But I wanted to say that the Miami Elks is supporting this activity. Once a month, they will be there, Affinity, on behalf of the needs of the veterans in Globe Miami. And we also have a physician coming who will be offering counseling for access to health care. We are supporting a place, a table, a space. He'll be bringing a laptop computer, and the good doctor can help those veterans that need help. And by doing this, we help the veterans. And by honoring Linda, we recognize a lot of people in this community just get up and volunteer, and she's one of them. So I want to thank the city and you, Mr. Mayor, for being there yesterday. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Fernando.
That's all I have.
I just wanted to kind of share that we had a legislative day for CAG, which is all the governments that are in Pinal County and Gila County are represented by that board, and mayor happens to sit as the chair on that. But we hold the legislative day, and we bring leaders from across the state at the municipal level, county level, and then we talk to our legislators. And I've not had much luck trying to ever get a hold of Wendy Rogers, but she showed up, and she's seemed very supportive of trying to do anything she could to help us. So I think that's why it's important to do those and to be there and to meet those people so they see us and know that we're real people that need real help. So thank you for putting that together. And I know that, is it Marshall? Representative Marshall's trying to run a bill for us to try to get us special funding to help us with the flooding, so.
Actually, there'd be Representative Blackman.
Blackman?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Blackman, sorry, Walt Blackman.
So that would be great, so if
His
you guys
seat.
know anybody at the state level that's making these decisions, let them know how important it is to us. That's it, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was up in Las Vegas about a week and a half ago, and coming back, we stopped in Kingman, and I had to charge my son-in-law's car, so I went into the local museum up there, and lo and behold, the first magazine I see on the rack is a magazine advertising the Globe Miami community, the big bright orange magazine. I thought, that's pretty good, all the way up here in Kingman, you know? So it's nice to see that we got our name out there, and whoever's doing that, we're doing a good job with it, so.
Thank
That's
you, Mike.
all.
Jesse?
I don't have anything, man, thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, I just have a few things. Tomorrow night, there's a town hall meeting here at City Hall for flood mitigation. There's gonna be discussion on sediment and debris removal. What rights of entry allows, a temporary construction easements, and the city staff, technical partners will be on hand to answer any questions. Forms will also be available for review and also to sign. And then Melissa is gonna head that up. So thank you, Melissa, for taking care of that. Hopefully get a big group. And that, you reminded me today, that's for, Globe, people only. It's not for city residents, Miami or anything. It's just Globe residents, correct? Okay.
Anybody that owns property along the waterway.
I can, when you get to my portion, I'll update a little bit.
Okay. And then second, Jesse's heading up a state of, well, he's not doing the state of the state, but Governor Hobbs is doing a state of the state in Payson on February 25th. And it looks like we're all gonna go except for one council person, so.
Correct.
That'll be good. And that's February 25th at, I believe, 10:30. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, just follow up on Councilman Gonzalez's on the Veterans Affinity. Yeah, it was an honor to speak there and give that award to Linda Merlin. She really deserved it. But I think it's important that we get the information. That's the first I heard of it, and I sat through their whole meeting and learned a lot about it. But for our veterans, they help retired veterans through all the barriers when they're going after health care and whatever part they need help with as far as the veterans. They get the benefits they deserve to, because sometimes it's a long process. They talked about one widow that it took 3 years to get the benefits from her husband, and it was quite a bit of money, but they went out and they helped these retired veterans. So it's important that we get that information out to our veterans. The other one, and Councilman Shipley mentioned it, is House Bill 2070, and it is Representative Blackman that's a sponsor of the bill, and that is going for $25 million to Gila County to help with our recovery efforts here in Globe, Miami. And we're going down next Wednesday, February 4th, to the House, and we'll be testifying in front of committee to help him push this through. Hopefully he can get it to the House and to the Senate and get it approved, bring money to Globe, Miami. That's all I have.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, to expand on that, the 2070 is, House Bill 2070 is an appropriation bill. And so it needs the support of the House, it needs to get to the Senate, but we also need the governor's support. And the governor has the ability in such an appropriation bill to do special things with such bills. So she can definitely help support or rescue that 25 million. And we thank Gila County for taking the lead to getting this. It's a low bill number, 2070, which means it's the first one of the first 70 bills in. We thank Representative Blackman for taking point on this. And we will be, like I say, we will be down to support it, and we'll talk a little bit about our trip and coordinating that. But it's very important. The other thing is we have a very watchful eye on another attack on food tax. Even though it's heading for the ballot to hold us harmless, and the food tax is one of many ways that municipalities tax to provide municipal services. Some people use that because that works better than property tax. Other people have other strong taxes and don't rely on the food tax, but it allows municipalities across the state to customize and do the best good with the taxation powers that works for their community, and we'd like to keep that ability to have food tax to use, since we have so many people traveling through, stopping, loading up at Fry's, heading to the lake or heading up north, and so that's a way for those visitors and travelers to pay, to support the services that we need: police, fire, public infrastructure. So, and Mr. Mayor, then on the event tomorrow night, the event tomorrow night, primarily if you have property that abuts or is inside the Pinnell Creek, you've seen the damage in there, and it's something that we're trying to eliminate any future damage and lessen the ability of catastrophic flooding there. And so we are going to be inviting anyone who has property in the creek to come in, look at maps, talk to us about how we want to partner with those homeowners in getting it groomed and the sediment removal so that the creek can go back to a historical capacity and handle the floods, the rain as it has historically. Question?
Will you live stream that tomorrow as well?
We had not planned on that because it's for a custom group, but tonight we're going to talk about more, so we should probably have this conversation when it comes up on the agenda tonight. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's all I have.
Thank you, Paul. Just to follow up on the food tax, it's a shame that we're still battling this 3 years later. We've been battling this at the state level in bills for several years, and it keeps coming back to us in different manners. It would devastate many cities in Arizona. I think 72 cities out of 91 have food tax. And for the city of Globe, a cut in sales tax revenue to food tax would cost $1 million out of our fund balance, out of our operating budget. So it's huge for us, and it's huge for a lot of cities. So we'll be testifying against it and see if we can get it to fail again for the third time. Thank you. So next we go to first community call to the public, and this is a chance, anybody in the audience from the public wishing to address the council can do so. You're limited to a 3-minute time frame. Just a reminder that the council on call to the public cannot respond to the individual, but we can direct staff to follow up on anything that we may feel that needs to be followed up on. So first we have Jacqueline Anderson.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to express facts. My name is Jacqueline Anderson. I'm a newer member to the Globe community, and I will talk fast to try to get in the 3 minutes. My intention is to provide information in this meeting on the resultant effects of exposure to non-native electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. Before moving to Globe, Arizona, it was not my intention to pursue research on non-native EMFs to the degree in which it has consumed my time. My background for the majority of my life has been in healthcare. My interests are for optimal health and well-being for all, including our children. To clarify, we are all born with naturally occurring endogenous electromagnetic fields within our human body. They play a vital role in maintaining health and physiological function, including nerve signaling, muscle contraction, and for the body's cellular communication. Man-made external EMFs, referred to as non-native, all emit radiation. A few examples, I'll be brief: MRIs, X-rays, Bluetooth devices, smart meters, there's vehicular smart technologies, power lines, electrical wiring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wireless technology have not been required to include protection or shielding from harmful effects to public exposure. By May of 2025, last year, there were 20 bills introduced to the House to be passed by law sponsored by technology companies and corporations to grant immunity and the liability for the harms caused to the public from this technology use. Everyone is affected, evidenced in either acute symptoms or eventual chronic conditions over a longer time of exposure. Distance from and exposure time to are key principles taught in medicine for protection. I have a paper list with a few resource links for reference that I've maybe copied, and I encourage everyone to do their own research. Please keep in mind that the use of AI for answers is convenient, but it's a programmed closed source system as opposed to an open source system for information. Therefore, it can contain misleading information. In the remaining time, I will begin an incomplete listing of harmful effects from non-native EMFs to the human body. Increased tumors, cancers in the brains of babies and children, increased susceptibility and suggestibility from programmed words used in communication to children and young adults even into their 20s. Fetal repositioning during pregnancy can occur, sterility and erectile dysfunction, increased production of viruses, bacteria, and molds in human bodies and in buildings. Those with implanted metal devices such as joint replacements, shoulders, hips, knees, brain clips, pacemakers, AICDs, defibrillators may experience increased sensitivity from the harmful non-native EMF effects. Metabolic disturbances include lowering the magnesium blood level, elevation of blood sugars, variation in blood pressure, strokes, Alzheimer's, memory changes, brain fog among old and new, neuropsychiatric problems, and DNA damage to all tissues. Sciatic neuropathy, respiratory symptoms, gastrointestinal symptoms, auditory disturbance, and carcinogenesis, which is formation of cancer cells, and more. Thank you. And I'll leave my reference if for anybody that would like to comment.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
So good
Thank you.
to meet you finally. I'm Paul. Okay, good to meet you. So we have talked many times, so, and so we can continue our follow-up.
And Jacqueline's talked to me at the
Yeah.
coffee
meeting,
there.
yeah.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Next we have, John Daniel.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Good evening,
Johnny?
Mayor and council members, everybody in attendance, thank you for being here this evening. Mayor and council, I would like to thank you for your time and energy that you carry in serving our city. I recognize the challenge of balancing safety, growth, and long-term stability. And many of your efforts in those areas are appreciated by families like mine. That appreciation is why I'm here tonight, to speak thoughtfully about a growing concern shared by many parents in our community. Recently, issues surrounding family care and education choice have become more prominent, including daycare and home education. If the growth of visibility of these choices has raised concerns for the city or certain neighborhoods, I would respectfully suggest the starting point should not be restriction, but understanding. The most important question is why? Why are families choosing in-home daycare? Why are parents choosing home education? Have there been intentional conversations with daycare providers? With home educating families? With the county superintendent or school leadership? Because communication creates clarity, and clarity leads to better policy. Our community is unique. Policies that work elsewhere simply cannot be copied here without understanding our culture, our families, and our specific needs. Following the reported loss of state funding to Globe Public Schools, I ask whether dialogue has taken place to address that root cause and collaborative solutions suggested. Restrictions without communication create distance. This is one more example where it feels that the quality of family and life and family experience is not always the forefront of decision-making. I share this to encourage better understanding, stronger communication, and partnership. Thank you for your time, all you do, and your consideration.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny.
Do we have anybody online, or I have?
Nothing
only-
on, let me check one more time. Nothing online. Oh, you have one. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I do have a email from David Berry, who is unable to be here in person tonight. He wanted to speak on a few issues with the lack of stamped drawings for the city's bracing at 410 North Broad Street, as well as the void under the city sidewalk that is causing issues with his building. The mayor mentioned that the Globe Miami United Fund would be speaking this evening. He wanted to raise some concerns about the second round of funding for structural repairs and the lack of a publicly provided official document on round 2 criteria. Let's see. Oh goodness. Sorry, I touched screen. He's wanting to make comments on how the town manager has handled the right of entry as it may pertain to the Creeks property, and present that the city should have a mediator or property owner advocate, as those affected by the flooding shouldn't bear the burden of legal protection of their rights from the city, and there should be no more than one person to negotiate before the city takes legal action. From his experience with his 410 building, this created issues where there is no oversight for the town manager, and information presented to council in executive session is one-sided and prevents property owners from unnecessary escalation to civil court cases. It wastes taxpayers' resources due to unequal access to their representatives who only receive the city staff side of disputes. That is from Dave Berry.
Dave Barry, okay.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council,
Thank you, Shelley.
we are in weekly, if not daily, communication with Mr. Berry.
That's it.
The 14th,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
that's old.
Next, we have special presentation, and item 4A is presentation and acceptance of $500 donation from the proceeds of the Globe Rotary silent auction to the City of Globe Active Adult Center to be used for operations of providing meals for seniors. We have Wendy or Mary Ann.
Mary Ann will not be joining us, but Eric will be.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, rest of the Globe City Council. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I was hard pressed to find a taller person to make me look shorter at this podium, but I think I did pretty good. My name is Wendy Stanfeld, president of the Rotary Club of Globe. This is Eric Bowman. I'm sure you are all very familiar with him as well. He is also a fellow Rotarian and soon to be president-elect for our next term, so we look forward to being under his direction of the Rotary Club in the next 2 years. The Rotary Club of Globe has been performing acts of service in the Globe community for over 100 years. And we've always had a very good partnership with the City of Globe and with all of our communities. We are always encouraging anyone to come with us or come to us with any ideas of fundraising, any ideas of ways that we can help. And we are very proud to be able to present to you this $500 to the Adult Activity Center. It was a private auction, a silent auction that we had between our members during our Christmas party, and we were very proud of the funds that were able to raise, and we are very happy to hand them over.
Awesome. Great, thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Tammy, our manager of the Active Adult Center, is in the audience, but I don't want to make her, if you want to come up, let's get it. Tammy, if you would like to.
She should accept it.
Yeah. And I will tell you that Tammy is very self-sufficient down there, and every Thanksgiving she knows is coming. When I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing Rotary lunch, or Rotary dinner for Thanksgiving, so.
I just would like to say thank you for the wonderful donations. We have a lot of things that we're thinking on buying, so thank you so much. And I also want to thank the City of Globe, Mayor, Councilman, City Manager. You guys bought us some, what is it? The bags for Meals on Wheels, the hot and cold bags, and ice packs. We appreciate that dearly. So thank you so much, and thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what will you do with the 500?
Oh, we already They want pots and pans.
Into the
They-
mic so everybody can.
They want pots and pans, they already want a big can opener to open up number 10 cans. And Linda's still making me a list, and I'm like, we only have 500. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Get Tammy in the middle.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
Item 4B is city staff will update the council on the right of entry permit request for flood mitigation, flood recovery initiatives, and related flood recovery activities. And that'll be,
I think we're starting with Melissa. Yes. Melissa, Tony, and then Gary.
There's not a clicker up here. So.
Yep, we can.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I know we spoke about this last week, but we wanted to go a little more in on the property owners and the mitigation that we're working on, debris sediment removal, stuff like that. Why flood mitigation matters. I think we know the why. It protects lives, homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure by reducing flood risk in the future. The truth is that more than 80% of the creeks within the city of Globe are privately owned. And we, as a city, as a municipality, cannot just go on to private property to take care of an issue. We have to go through a whole process, starting with an ROE. Go ahead, Kelly. Because the city only owns a small portion of drainage corridors, legal access is required to evaluate conditions, maintain infrastructure, and pursue long-term flood mitigation solutions. So we want to make sure to respect the property owners. The plan of approach is to follow a structured property owner first approach. Each step builds towards long-term flood mitigation while respecting private property. Legal documentation ensures transparency, protection, and accountability for all of us. So step one is the ROE. That's what we're working on currently. That's the right of entry. That will give us temporary access for inspections, surveys, engineering, basically to make a plan to evaluate what's changed. This doesn't do anything for the property owner. It just literally allows us to go take a look. Okay. The temporary construction easement would be step two. This will actually allow construction to happen on the property. So this will be what's needed to go in and remove sediment from the creek beds. That will be based on the professional survey by the engineer. And then after that work is done, the ROE is done as well. Based on engineering results, there might be long-term solutions depending on what the creek looks like. If we need something built or taken care of permanently, then we might have to look for something like a voluntary quitclaim deed or a permanent drainage easement allowing access and maintenance for the long term. And then just flood mitigation is a shared responsibility. We all take care of the creeks, and it's something we all need to do. Property owner cooperation allows the city to move from emergency response to long-term solutions. And each step will be transparent, respectful, and purpose-driven in helping to make Globe safer in the future. So that's all I have.
what do we have I guess a resident that refuses to sign a right of entry? How do we, if we don't mitigate that one area, what happens to our total plan?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think we're gonna have strong support. I think as we go through and people learn the facts and learn the importance of what we're trying to do, this is the flood, the water coming through Pinal Creek. If you're gonna fix it, it's like fixing a chain. Every link of the chain has to be reinforced. And if someone is reluctant to sign over and allow this, we will work with them, figure out what are their concerns, what can we do to mitigate those concerns, how can we, how can we arrange that? But in the end, I believe we'll be successful, and we'll work through there. We'll wait and see how this goes. But
I got a question too, Mayor, through you. We ran into this problem back when we had the telegraph fire.
yes,
And a lot of people, well, I don't have a number, but people were refusing us to go onto their property.
Melissa, I know this is a different time.
Yeah, I think that probably opinions have changed. Also, we're being very transparent about the entire process and making sure that it is a partnership with these property owners. That way we can make sure to make it better for everybody.
Fernando?
I'm actually more concerned not about people not cooperating, but having absentee owners that we can't contact.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense that we don't take care of it, especially if they're.
So we did pull the list. We went through parcel by parcel. Thank you to Eric for all of that help. And we've looked at the most recent owners on the Gila County Assessor's map. So we're looking at the most recent information as of 2025. So hopefully that's not something we'll come across.
Well, I know of one already, so.
I think,
We'll track them down. I'm pretty good on Facebook.
I think it's a different time than what Vice Mayor brought up about the telegraph. I think we all saw the potential what can happen. We have to build capacity in those waterways, and it has to be total cooperation and partnership with everybody.
It does, yeah. It's happened in other communities. It can happen here.
If we don't get 100% buy-in, what are we gonna do?
They'll work with them.
We'll work with them. Like I say, we'll just see how far we get. You start at the beginning and work towards the end, and a lot of times towards that end when you're the last one in. It's important that we start early now because we want to get the low-hanging fruit and then, concerns and then see what's left. But we are on a time crunch. We have 220 days once we are approved by NRCS to get this work done. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, good. To get this work done. We haven't been approved yet, but we've already contracted with an engineer to do the engineering. We're lining up construction to do this. They will be going hand in foot at the same time that they're engineering whatever's engineered, and then we are working to get the construction easements. Then they'll go on and start working on there, and we'll work through the whole place until we're left with those last pockets that need special attention, and then we'll address those when they come up. But again, we have this 220 days, which is important. It's a tight deadline, but we're okay with that because you don't know when the next storm's going to come from the Gulf. You don't know when the next monsoon's going to hit. When you hit multiple canyons and they come through. So we're okay with this. But the city has taken on the responsibility of getting these easements. It's not the county. It's not a contractor. It's not the state. These are our community members, and I think that will make the difference.
It's kind of a three-pronged machine that's gonna have to go fast and furious as soon as we get going. So it's gonna be communications, engineering, and then construction all happening at the same time.
We have packets made up already for all the known property owners we have. They'll be available tomorrow night. Anybody who is a property owner that knows that or thinks they may have property in the creek, welcome to come. We'll have maps on the walls. We'll have discussion. It's not so much a presentation. We've had a lot of presentations on the flood, but this is to help those owners get the information they need for their personal decision to assist or and in what way. And so that is what we're trying to do tomorrow. It's going to be more of a conversation with individuals, with our team here to answer their questions. And that's why I think it doesn't fit to a video feed, because you're just going to see a bunch of people mingling over a map, talking to one another. So, because Councilman Latham, your question about broadcasting, I think it would be the broadcast of people mingling around talking, but but not one person presenting to a group. And so it's gonna be, it'd be kind of a muddled, you know.
So this will create some, well, apparently we'll have to go out and do some door-to-door, personal we have to go out and search them out if they do not show up and do it voluntarily, I guess.
We just start the process and
Mr. Mayor, I just, if I may, just wanted to point out that if you didn't listen to the last meeting, we lined up our ducks with the contractors, the engineering firms that will be working with our staff. So I just want to point that out. We're trying to move as fast as we can in order to make this happen. So we've already got that in play, the engineering firms, and I just want to point that out. And if there's anything we can do as councilmen to help this process along, to meet with the homeowners later, I'd be glad to, because we're in crunch time, but we need to convince people, and if we have to do that, I'd be glad to meet with them. And I appreciate, once again, our staff for stepping up and helping. Thank you, Melissa. And at the same time, the other juggling act is to provide information to the second request from FEMA. So I want the public to know how hard our people are working to please many different aspects of this response. We're still in response mode, and now we're trying to address long-term solutions. My personal benchmark is the work that was done after the flood of 1954, and you can see it how high the walls were built and the methods of construction. And I don't know the history on that, how fast it took them to build that. But I feel we're in the same kind of time crunch. We've got to move, and it's time to get it done. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Melissa. You have other presenters too?
Pardon me?
You have other presenters?
Oh, yes. No, we're going to transition from that. If there's any more questions on the event tomorrow night, and council's welcome to come and listen in and chat. And you may be, we may call on you as we get further in the process to reach out. So next is Community Development Director Tony Manfredi.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Hope you're all well tonight. For those who don't know me or aware of me, I'm Tony Manfredi, Community Development Director, Building Official. I was asked to come up and discuss with you about our enforcement activities, where we kind of stood from September, from the flood to present, and where we're kind of a brief activity summary of where we're at with that. So within approximately a 6-month period of time, we've conceded on a lot of the permitting processes to help businesses and residents both move forward in the easiest possible way we can. And that provided a lot of site visits, provided a lot of exemptions to some permitting that we could exempt at the time and do so safely, and that's the key aspect of that. And we helped it move along, to kind of keep it moving along and provide what resources that we could. With that being said, we do have to plan to keep our jurisdiction, our community safe, and move forward, and not stay at a standstill. So we will be providing all the resources that we can. Permitting will be going back. We will obtain so many exemptions for people still doing some of the work. An example of that was some strip cutting, drywall, some electrical dry out, things like that, things that we could work with that were time consuming on one end, but by conceding on that, we can move forward and get people in there to fix these items and work them and get businesses, get residents back in operation and back in order. So by April 6th of 2026, that we will go back to our normal enforcement of code and requirements while still adhering to some of the exemptions. I just want to keep nailing or talking about that piece. The whole key here is trying to get people back in business and people back in their homes, and we have to do it safe, efficiently, responsibly. And so April 6th is that key determining factor. If we don't make a date to move forward, we took 10 steps backwards when the storm hit us. And we were making forward strides prior to that. And what I mean by that is coming up with a resilient community based on disaster. And that's what we did when we adopted new code, and we put those things in place, and we did some other things to help with that. So those were forward strides. Now that the flood hit us, we took some backward steps, unfortunately, by Mother Nature. And the importance of moving forward and not being stagnant, that is, we have to prepare for the next event. And even though we don't want another event and don't wish for it and don't hope for it, again, Mother Nature will do what it calls for, and we want to make sure that we're prepared for that. So when we don't address these items, we deal with factors. Factors can be leftover debris fields, diversionary factors. So if we have water come in and we have stagnant structures or debris fields, we're diverting water again to areas that they shouldn't. We have damming factors, so we have destructive debris movement. So these are all factors, as well as health factors. So when we have debris left over and sitting, they continue to mold and infest disease, entice rodents and things like that. So these are all pieces of that equation that we have to address. I'd like to touch on a couple of stats when it comes to that. And so through the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, it's the NOAA, prepared some stats that talked about disasters and storms. There were a total of 310 severe weather and climate events since 1980. That number keeps climbing. The stats and the data stats give us, they split the country in two. We have an East Coast and West Coast, everything in between. And it's normally been, on the East Coast, we have flooding. On the West Coast, we have fires. Those patterns are changing. The world is changing, and that's what we're seeing, those pattern changes. We have to prepare for that. Lastly, they don't gather the data for secondary disasters. And what I mean by secondary disaster is what comes after those. So in areas that are prone to fire, like we are on the West Coast, the secondary event can be flooding. We have scalding to the ground, to the mountains, loss of greenery that promotes absorption of water, and the scalding itself sheds so much water at once that we lose control over the natural elements that we have to deal with these secondary disasters. So I wanted to bring that up because I think it's important to keep that in mind. Since that 1980, each of those events causing over $1 billion in losses, with an astonishing $2.15 trillion in damages and over 15,000 fatalities from these types of events. We're not alone. So we went through this as a community. We'll get through it as a community, but we're not alone. We see these types of events hitting us nationally, and we want to be the jurisdiction that tends to overcoming and providing a resilient environment with so many communities out there. And of course, we're a smaller rural town, which gives us an advantage to help with that. But we're seeing disaster hit areas that are sitting in very bad positions, and they're years later. We have non-development, we have rotting structures, whether they're residential or commercial. These areas are not habitable. They're not allowing people into these areas. We don't want that. That's the last thing we want. We want to move forward. We want to get people back in business, their livelihood, their businesses back intact, their residential structures. They need places to live, especially for a jurisdiction that has a shortage in the first place. So we have to move forward and progress and make sure we do that in a responsible way. Lastly, the effects of building codes. This is the one very main aspect of resiliency is the adoption of building code. We went over this when we adopted our newly 21 codes that went into effect January 2025. And because of that, and because we follow codes, we had some structures, new development structures that are in the works that adhere to these codes. To include, when I say codes, I'm including floodway, floodplain items. And because of those factors, we had these structures that were a direct path of flood, that not one drip of water entered the building. It did some property damage, but not one drip of water entered the building. And why is that? Because there were codes that governed and had data sets on why it was important to follow these standards, provide an elevation in those areas, and it worked. Does it always work? No, it doesn't. It's right. It's dependent on the data that we get, Mother Nature, of course, right? And so those data sets change based on the geographical area. So, and that's how we determine code, and that's how we determine elevations, and that's how we determine resilient construction. So we do that, and we gather that data nationally, and then we amend it to fit our needs. So when we did amendments, not every state, not every city, not every town matches those of others. So as we amend, we look at the issues that we're faced with, the disasters that we're faced with, lost history that we're faced with, and what the future forecasts for us. So that's why those items are so important to us. I wanted to hit on that, and just for the pure fact that, 6 months later, we're asking people make movement. We need to enforce. We need to get back into the swing of things. We need to get back to normalcy and get people back in business and people back in their homes. So we're here to help with that process. We have a lot of resources. We continue those resources and discussions, as you're all aware. So come see the Building Safety Department. We'll help the best way we can, but we do need to move forward. I think, lastly, I did want to hit, share with me one. There was a number I wanted to share with you. So since 1980 on, it was estimated that we have $240 billion in structural savings by the use of building code. Those numbers keep climbing. And so that's a big number. And so again, going back to why that's important is these are resilient codes. These are meant to minimize damage caused by disaster or trauma to a structure. That's why we adopt code, and that's why we utilize code, is we're trying to minimize those items. And what that does is minimizes not only monetary losses for business owners and residents alike, but it allows them to get back into their homes and businesses faster. It minimizes that catastrophic damage. So a very important aspect of that. I just wanted to hit those quick elements of that. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Questions, comments?
Just a couple comments, and I think I've said this before, Tony. I think you and I have had the same career, but in different eras. Early in my career, we used to evacuate during fires. Points of safety were considered 20 miles away. 26 years later, at the end of my career, we had to evacuate people 50 miles away for safety. You can have all your arguments about climate change or earth change, but that's the reality. And I agree with you that we have to face that in a resilient manner. So I thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Before Chief, I just want to acknowledge, I forgot, Brian Sepula with Ware Solutions here. Just want to acknowledge him in the audience. Thank you.
And Chief Robinson has a very brief update on just what's going on with our process.
I get the very brief.
Very brief.
All right. Mayor, council members, as most of you are aware, we did have a representative from FEMA in the community last Wednesday and Thursday. That was in response to the appeal to our FEMA declaration filed by the state of Arizona. They were extremely responsive to that appeal. We had 2 representatives from FEMA and multiple representatives from DMA back in the community. Again, staff went back through. We started with a kickoff meeting and set a plan in place, and then staff went back through with those representatives and back through the sites that are, that were of particular interest to their staff and what they wanted to see based on that 60-day report that we filed. The FEMA process is there's a 2-tier process when it comes to appeals to FEMA. With this one, they came in, we reviewed everything that they wanted to look at, plus some things that our staff recommended. We went through that review with them. We did a follow-up meeting. One of the things that I felt was important to mention was one of the senior officials from FEMA back east was on, this is a regional appeal, at the region was on, and just reiterated that they want to get it right for us. And so as we went through that review, following that review, we received a list, request for information list on numerous pieces of documentation that we have related back to the flood. Our original deadline for that is this Friday. They gave us 7 days for that, pretty standard, but we have since had a follow-up conversation with DEMA, and we feel we have a very strong case to get an extension, which we have filed as of today. We requested an extension out another 14 days. The list is pretty comprehensive on data that they want. A majority of that data we have in the review that we've done as staff. Some of that data we need to comb through a little bit more to make sure we get it right. We make sure we have the information that they need, plus anything that may help us support their understanding of that information. From there, once we have submitted data, we've reached that deadline, there is generally up to a 90-day review process that they can go through on that. Our hope is that that's maybe shortened, and we see a determination of our appeal sooner than that. Based on that, we do have, there is further options in the event that is unsuccessful. Our hope is that it won't be. Our hope is that we'll be successful in that appeal, and we would have another option to file an appeal back to the final appeal would go back to the main office in Washington, D.C. Any questions, concerns?
I think you've answered this before, though, but if we were awarded the NRCS project, will that revert back to 90-10 if the appeal is successful?
I believe it would, because of the overarching umbrella. It would go that way. Everything under that umbrella would do.
They coincide, as well as a FEMA declaration opens up other avenues of funding. It opens up some potential other things within NRCS, within other programs as well to potentially help fund that. All of it being, or most of it in most cases being reimbursable expenses still.
Yeah, and again, all of these fundings is for public infrastructure only. Although with a FEMA declaration, it opens up avenues for private individuals. And the most important thing, the buyout program.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
You bet.
So now we have item 4C is the Globe City Council received an update from the United Fund on the Business Relief Grant. We have Susan Guerrero here.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and everyone, Brian, Christian. A brief update with residential. Since last time I was here 2 weeks ago, another 30,000 has been dispersed. Assistant services are mentioned in the previous meeting are the same. Salvation's Army staff is extremely knowledgeable and professional, so we're really glad to have them. It's been 4 months since the flood. I think we've had some slow but steady progress, so we'll keep just making progress. There's a FAQ regarding residential flood relief program available on our website. I'm not sure if I mentioned that last time, ufglobemiami.com/FAQ. You all have the information in your packet. I don't have slides or anything because it was, okay. Moving on to business, our business update. So the flood relief program has wrapped up. Local First Arizona is the nonprofit partner agency that did the intake and processing of the applications. I have a breakdown from Jenna Rowell. She's the Local First Arizona Rural Development Director. They processed 159 grant applications between the 2 rounds. There were 4 full-time staff persons working on application processing and phone interviews with business owners, and they were extremely supportive of the businesses. Their job is normally to support businesses, so it was like the perfect partnership, honestly. So 72 businesses have received funding. The total amount raised to date is $2,247,833.92. $1.4 million is allotted for business support and rebuilding, $800,000 for residential flood relief program, $50,000 for flood mitigation efforts and planning. So next we have the list of the 71 businesses and their grant amounts, followed by about 50 corporate donors and individual donors. On the website now is this complete list of donors and business recipients. So it's ufglobemiami.com/flood.
Any questions, comments? This list you gave us, this is the total amount distributed and the total donations on there.
Yeah, like we just finalized the last disbursements this week.
That's amazing.
So yeah, 1.4 and $706.
And it's still open then for donations then?
Yeah, the residential is still open, and if there were someone that wanted to designate a donation to a specific business or resident, or nonprofits, that will be honored.
Did the contract end with Local First now already, or is it still open?
No, it's over. It was a lot more complicated than I think they initially anticipated. So, yeah, that kind of went longer than anyone expected. But they did a really good job, so.
That's amazing to see that.
Thank you for all that you've done.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I know it's been a lot of work, it's people don't really realize how much work you guys have gone through, United Fund and all the players in there and the Local First and Salvation Army. It's been amazing.
I just want to point out that none of these businesses would have received anything. A lot of them had no flood insurance, had nothing to help them, and so you stepping up in that big way was huge.
Yeah, and I have to give it to my leadership, my president and my executive director. They were on board, knowledgeable, ready to get going, advocating for residents and businesses. We're all doing our part, so Yeah, thank
This
you.
went a long way in helping to rebuild and open those businesses as fast as they were able to do.
That's amazing, that's a lot.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just need to comment. Paul, I gave you a report out from donations put out by that they received, the Globe Downtown Association. So that's on file as well, as to who got what. So it supplements what you all have been doing. And I guess the second comment I'd like to say is, I'm really humbled by the individual donations, that name list at the end. I don't know well, I have a lot of humility seeing these names on here. A lot of private donations were made from across country, and especially in the Globe Miami area. And then you add in all of the donations that came in. There's so much local giving that occurred during this event, and I'm really proud to be part of this community. We helped our own. All the entities came running, business, government, private donations. And it's very heartening to see. We have still a lot of work ahead of us in doing our repairs to the city, but to see all of this happen. And I said this in the previous meeting, none of us in the room are donations management experts when it comes to disaster recovery. We had to make it up as we went along, and you all did, and you were successful at it. And I've said this before as well, I've had people gripe, lack of information, what are you all doing with the money? And all I could tell them is it's being worked on and it's being delivered as it comes in. Pledges had to come in, and so timing is everything. So I say to the public, I don't know if we can make this report public, but I'll tell you, this is, in a nutshell, what we as a city, as citizens in the region have done to help each other. With no, I shouldn't say no outside help, I should say, with the resources we had and the contacts we had and the reaching out, this is what this represents. So I want to thank you all for your efforts. I really appreciate it. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And since Brian's in the audience here, I just wanted to acknowledge resolution for $1 million donation. That is amazing to the community. I mean, you gotta acknowledge that.
The
Appreciate that
largest
very much.
donation, yeah, for sure.
One other thing from United Fund, did they pay for the administrative costs that went to Local First and Salvation? They didn't take money out of the
Yes, we
donation
paid
fund.
for the administration with non-flood funds.
And that's, people need to know that too.
Yeah, all 100%, every single dollar went to the residential and businesses that were directly impacted by the floods.
Along with that, we do have Christian here. Will he be able, I'd like to, if he can give us a report on the Small Business Association at this point?
I think it qualifies under the update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we do that, do you want to do the, we did have a person wanted to speak to the item.
Oh, okay.
Through an email from Mr. Berry. But this is an item, so everyone can respond to the email.
Okay.
Okay, so let Shelley go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is from David Berry, and I want to begin by expressing genuine gratitude to the donors, sponsors, and volunteers who have supported our community's flood recovery. That generosity has been meaningful and will help many families and businesses move forward. I also recognize the hard work of staff at the Arizona Rural Development Council and local Arizona First for their professionalism throughout this initial grant process. Tonight, I'm requesting this council's attention on 3 interconnected matters that require transparency, accountability, and corrective action. First, on the Globe Miami Business Relief Program and Phase 2 funding criteria. The City Council approved a service agreement October 13th, 2025 with Local First Arizona Foundation that expressly requires the City of Globe to develop and approve the eligibility criteria for this program. That contract is the governing document. It places responsibility for criteria approval directly with this council. However, more than 3 months have passed and I have been unable to obtain a formal written record showing when the City Council approved Phase 2 eligibility criteria. official documentation of what those criteria actually are, proof of when those criteria were made public, the date those criteria were communicated to applicants. Instead, I've received references to an informal FAQ document. When I asked for the formal criteria, Susan Guerrero from United Fund stated, "I will politely decline your request for round 2 documents." The public deserves better. Over 1.2 million in charitable donations plus $200,000 in city taxpayer funds have been distributed. Applicants who were told their properties were ineligible for phase 2 should have that decision based on criteria that are clear, publicly available, and formally approved, not on interpretations of informal documents applied after the deadline has passed. There should be an appeal process to have round 2 funding reconsidered. I respectfully ask this council, can you confirm that you formally approved phase 2 eligibility criteria? And if so, when and where is that approval documented? Second, on the lack of a public record. The city's own city manager stated that Globe Council took no action, was not involved in the setting the criteria for the distribution. If that is accurate, the service agreement has not been followed. It is not accurate. Documentation of that council action should exist in your meeting minutes or resolutions. The public has a right to know who specifically made decisions about how public funds were distributed and when those decisions were made. This information should be easily accessible through your city clerk's office. I urge this council to establish clear protocols for property owner negotiations during municipal emergencies that protect individual rights while allowing the city to accomplish its legitimate objectives. In closing, our community has experienced a shared tragedy, but recovery is strongest when built on transparency, fair processes, and equal accountability for everyone, whether they're donors, city officials, or flood victims. I'm not here to attack anyone's motives. I'm here because these are solvable problems. This council has the authority and responsibility to ensure they are solved. Thank you for your time and consideration. David Berry.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we've had many conversations with Mr. Berry. We've explained much of this, but I would like to point out one accusation he's making from the city is false. The city of Globe, when we passed this initially, we gave the criteria that he's talking about was who qualifies to be considered for the funding for the original 200,000 that the city of Globe put in. That is phase 1. That is the extent of the city's involvement. And what that criteria was, are they a business or a business inside the city of Globe? Are they a resident or inside the city? And then did they experience flood damage? Because the United Fund and Local First, they can't easily figure out who is in the city, who isn't, and they can't easily figure out who was damaged and who wasn't. And so that was the criteria that we shared. That was the limit of what council's participation was. And we funded phase 1 because we were the first ones out of the gate with the money. None of our money went to phase 2. So he's talking about whether the deployment or the issuance of money with phase 2 was under council guidance or anything like that. It was not. The city of Globe was not involved in that. That was handled by the nonprofits. And so just for clarity, the reason there is no documentation is because there is no participation. And Susan, if you want anything you want to add.
Sure. Mr. Berry, it's a special situation for multiple reasons. I wasn't going to discuss it at all, but as far as the questions, I'm not even sure where to start with it. So I'll say we've had countless correspondence with him. Me, my leadership, many people around town, like Chamber, for example. Jenna with Local First, and we've answered all our questions. Like, it was just, not stopping. So the other thing was, I'll mention, since he wants to discuss it, I guess, he did have his requirement waived for 4 applications for having his business license. We've done our best to work with him. We're aware of his situation, and we'll, he's still on our radar. So, thank you.
So just a comment, Mr. Mayor. $200,000 by the city of Globe. I would call that public monies. But the rest of the funding is not. And I need to point that out to this council. And again, we're dealing with private donations. And as I've said before, no one in this room, and I said this the last meeting, no one in this room is a mass care specialist or a disaster recovery specialist, which means we have to make it up as we go along. And I've seen this successfully done in other disasters, flooding, fire, you name it, for a community to roll up their sleeves and pull themselves up by the bootstraps. And they will try anything to make it happen. They go to the Home Depots of the world and they beg for resources. That's an example I've seen. So I've seen it time and again where the community helps themselves because no one else can help, and they realize it's just them. From the smallest communities of Gila County, Tonto Basin, etc., to this community, which is the first time I've seen it done, and with a staff willing to take it on, and with other entities contributing, private and other donations coming in to do that. And I will stand for that at all times. I will point out 200,000 City of Globe, we were first out of the gate. Whatever criteria we need to meet on that amount, fine, let's deal with it. But the rest of it is not our responsibility. It's not public funds, and so the entities that step up to help, as I have seen in the past, distribute the resources as they see fit. And sometimes it's a real complainer that gets some money and people grumble, but everybody realizes they're getting something to help recover. And I've seen that time and again, and they accept it and they move on. So my comment is, I think we've done our due diligence on our side up to this point in time, and I think the entities involved in this, in the distribution, you include the Globe Downtown Association in that process as well. They distributed funds. They made sure that they kept a record of who got what. So there's so many entities supporting this recovery with the donations presented. And I think it's an admirable piece of work, and I support them 100%. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, if I could, I just want to thank you again for all that you've done. My heart goes out to every business owner and individual that was affected. And unfortunately, when this many people are affected and there's this much money, it can't help just one business. And to see what you've done is amazing. And the criteria you came up with is amazing. And the way that you guys put it out and shown here in transparent documents, the way that you did is amazing. So you guys should be commended in every effort that you have done. So I appreciate everything that you have done so far.
I'll mention too, there were like, I believe 56 applications within City of Globe during that initial round. So your money did get used during that initial round, and you'll see there on the list. Furthermore, for round 2 criteria, yeah, it was pretty simple. Flood impacted, Globe Miami business, and then get licensed. For round 2, same exact thing, flood impacted, Globe Miami business, including Wheatfields, Central Heights, unincorporated areas, and active and licensed at the time of flooding was the kind of additional one for round 2. But looking at the business list, honestly, it's like I see the list and think, yeah, okay, I remember that business and seeing that they were active licensed businesses, so.
I agree, and I don't want, I guess to Mr. Berry, I don't want his comments to speak louder than all the commitment and all the work United Fund of Globe Miami did, along with Local First and Salvation Army. You see this list and how many people were helped. There was not gonna be any help without that United Fund stepping up and doing it. As far as the city, the $200,000, I remember that we committed that $200,000, but it was dedicated to City of Globe businesses only. That same council meeting, we waived 2 months of water fees for those people, those individuals impacted. That's the only thing the city of Globe had to do with it. But nothing should be louder than what the work was done with Globe Miami United Fund.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think Maren would like to add in, or?
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, I would just like to clarify that while this is our first mass response, United Fund of Globe Miami has been serving the community since 1964. We have been connecting charities with donors for that long. No, we are not in the business of connecting businesses with flood relief. However, we took that 60 years of experience and a whole lot of energy and a whole little tiny bit of thanks, and we turned it into this effort. What people say is a reflection of themselves, not a reflection of the work that was done. We have to look ourselves in the mirror every morning. We have to know that our integrity is there. Every year we file our 990. It includes a complete list of funding recipients. Those same recipients, including this year's businesses, receive a 1099 every year. We are on top of our paperwork. We do it to not only the best of our ability, but to the federal standards of a 501c3. And oftentimes we annoy people in the community because we say, oh, you're not current with your 501c3? Sorry. Right? We have to uphold those standards. We, every time we make a decision, are choosing to uphold those standards instead of pander to public opinion. And that's all it is. The information has been shared as it is available. As you pointed out this evening, United Fund itself covered all the administrative cost, not just for Local First, but the time that Susan and I put into it. Our salaries, our pay, that's not coming out of the flood donations. And it's tens of thousands of dollars between Local First and the work that we've been putting in. We've been tracking our time separately between what goes into flood relief and what goes into the regular work, because the regular work still has to get done. Every month, it has to get done. And I'm sorry that the community has members that would choose to focus on something else. 1099s were filed yesterday, and everyone receiving one should receive that in the mail in the next 5 to 7 days. And all the recipients received a letter ahead of the 1099 verifying their information and offering them the opportunity to file a separate W-9 in case any of the information that we had didn't match. So while we are learning, we are also following best practice and upholding the absolute standards by which our board has governed itself for more than 60 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Okay.
Your turn, Christian.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Lewis. I am here from the Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Recovery. The flood was what, 4 months ago? We had staff here about 10 days later. Today was the last day at the chamber. We had people on the ground for 108 days. During that time, the last numbers that I saw, we approved about $5.6 million in loans to businesses and homeowners. Even though we will not have people on the ground anymore, people still have the availability to go to sba.gov/disaster businesses and still apply for disaster loans. They'll still be open until September. The Secretary of Agriculture additionally approved a new disaster on the 14th that will run until November. That still covers this county, Coconino, Maricopa, for businesses as well. So there's still opportunity for people to access business funds if that's what they so choose to do. We just want to say thank you guys for allowing us into your community and being so hospitable for us. And you know, my number is floating around here. People know how to get in contact with me. If you need anything, if there's anything that I can do for you, it may not be something I personally have, but it's something I can connect you to. By all means, reach out to me for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I have it's a specific one that
For sure.
that applied. And this resident did happen to have flood insurance.
Okay.
But the flood insurance they had did not cover their contents.
Okay.
And so when they went to apply for the loan, I guess part of the loan criteria was that you needed to have a flood policy and with contents coverage as well as structural coverage.
Okay.
And so they were told they couldn't apply. But I was trying to figure out why, because I know some people had no flood insurance
Right,
at
yeah.
all, and they were able to apply. And then the company would not allow them to change the policy because it was midterm.
Right, yeah.
And even though it wouldn't affected the claim, they still were unwilling to do so. So these people basically felt like they could not move forward.
Several things. Number one, I always say, no matter what anyone tells you, always appeal. I'm all for getting a second opinion. The other thing is that I do realize we have had a lot of changes in staff. So everyone does not know everything. And that's why I say do the appeals process. When you are denied, the client letter should tell you exactly what the problem is, but a lot of that stuff will actually come out in like the underwriters really going through. But the basic system itself at the top line is kind of automated. So there may be some things that get missed, but by all means appeal. If they completed an application, it's still in the system for up to 6 months. So they have the ability to go back at least twice on appeals. So by all means appeal.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, what was the number as of yesterday of loans?
That number I do not have yet. Yeah.
The latest date?
Yeah, you got the last numbers that I got. I was sending you, yeah. I have not gotten new numbers yet.
It was at least 5.5 million?
Yeah.
They were the surprise of this particular disaster for me personally and professionally. There was a lull in applications, and then as word got out that your agency was available, and as we went through other things in time dealing with federal agencies, you're the only one that responded and helped us. And I'm not downgrading our application process right now with FEMA. I'm just saying you guys were first on boots on the ground.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And we have made it known to our congressional delegation how happy we are with your help to this community and encourage them all to continue funding through your lead agency to help the communities of America. This is neat to see, and I thank you for your help.
We appreciate it. Again, you know, we have that federal mandate when people do invite us, we will be on the ground within 48 hours. I mean, the terms that you get on the loans, you really won't find anywhere else. You really, really won't. So I tell people all the time, go ahead and apply. Even if you decide you don't want the funds, it's better to have that money earmarked just in case, because you never know what's gonna happen down the line.
Yeah,
You just don't know.
terms, interest rates, everything was something our public began to realize, hey, we gotta look into this. And so I'm proud to say that number has grown substantially, and I'm very happy that you all were here.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Christian, thank you for you and your staff for embedding yourselves here in our community. We really appreciate it. I also want to thank the Globe Miami Chamber of Commerce
Yes.
for
They've been
opening their
great. Yeah.
doors, for allowing you to open your application process here. So thank to both of you. You got great
Thank you.
collaboration.
You guys take it easy.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we go to consent calendar. Matters listed in the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and or staff may remove any item for separate consideration. Item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. A1, accounts payable, $996,992.82. Item 2, consideration of approval of council minutes. Item A, consideration of the October 28, 2025 meeting minutes. Item B, consideration of the November 18, 2025 meeting minutes. Item C is consideration of December 4th, 2025 special meeting minutes. And item D, consideration of the December 9th, 2025 meeting minutes. Item B, consideration to ratify contract number CS 20260082 with CM Precision Excavating Grading LLC executed under the City of Globe's Emergency Declaration Resolution 1921 for clearing, loading, and hauling debris as well as removing propane tanks caused by the September 26, 2025 flood event for a total contractual amount of $12,715.43. 75% of this cost will be reimbursed by DEMA contingency on eligibility requirements through account 208008008 DEMA 2025 flood. The remaining 25% will be funded from account 105551296 DEMA 2025 flood match. Item C is consideration of the city manager's approval of a special liquor license for the Holy Angels Catholic Church for the February 14, 2026 Valentine's Day dinner and dance located at Holy Angels Parish, 151 East Sycamore, Globe, Arizona. Item D, consideration to approve purchase order number PO-26266 for the purchase of parts and fittings from Fort Line Water Works, the lowest responsible quote in the amount of $32,106.75 from account 508051248. Anybody from the public, council, or staff wishing to remove any item for separate consideration?
Mayor, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda as read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. New business, item 6A is consideration to approve IGA 2026-0093 with the Arizona Department of Transportation for the Arizona Smart Funds Grant that was awarded to the City of Globe in the amount of $31,212 to be used as a match portion of the U.S. Department of Transportation 2023 Safe Streets and Road Grants received through account 204208193 U.S. DOT Grant Revenue and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule. Connie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As in a way of getting back to normal, this was something that was pre-flood, and during the flood, we had lost communication with the Arizona DOT for the Arizona Smart Funds, and as a result, when people change hands or administrations change, so our original person, our monitor, had retired and really, I guess, not communicated very well to the rest of the staff, and so our award kind of sat there waiting for something. And then during the flood, Andrea Robles came up to help us, and I just happened to say something to her about this specific grant, and she started making some phone calls, so we got back on track. And today now we have the contract in order to sign that and be able to access this funding, which will be match for the Safe Streets Grant, which is a federal grant. And this Arizona Smart Funds was made for matches for grants for different rural areas, but it's also, you can use it in conjunction with a grant to make the grant bigger. Okay, so there's two ways you can use it. I wanted to make that clear. And also I'd like to invite Danny to the podium because she's going to share a little something about the funding codes.
Back in September of 2024, the match was originally brought to you in the FY25 budget in account number 1280-52200, which is the capital outlay construction account. However, at that time, we were going to be responsible for this, but with Connie's help and able to get the grant, that is going to be moved now from the original budget amount, and it's going to be received in a grant account, which is going to be 2042-08011. That's our revenue account. There will also be an expense account which is 2080-08011. So it'll be tracked as a regular grant instead of an expense that's been budgeted.
Will that include the full amount or just the match?
That will just be the match, those accounts. The actual grant itself has another account, and that account is also a grant account, but it's 2042-08193, which is the US DOT, which is on the agenda for tonight.
So those funds have been received by the city, because as we went to legislature day, we find that, you know, the smart funds are decreasing and going down, but we have those funds already.
No, these are reimbursable grants. So we don't hold those funds, or we don't receive those funds until after we expend funds and put in for the reimbursement.
Okay.
But we have the award.
The award, okay.
Okay. And just to kind of tie this up again, just as a quick reminder, so this is the $124,156 Safe Streets grant from Department of Transportation, which is a federal grant. And we were going to have a $32,212 cost match, local match for this grant. And now we were awarded the Arizona Smart Funds to help us out with that match in total. So at this point, we will seek reimbursement for that $32,212, and then we do not have a match for that. That clears us for a match on that grant.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, to the mayor's question, this came out of previously appropriated money from the state and federal. You're right, there's questions on the table this cycle, whether in the future, when we go to apply additionally, there may not, that money is, you know, will not be there, but that legislative activity that we're seeing at the Capitol does no impact on this.
Sure.
And this is all good news.
Yep.
And so if you don't have any more questions, I'd like for you to, or we'd like for you to waive the section 2410A prior discussion rule to vote.
Any questions or comments for him?
No.
We have a motion.
Make a
Mr.
motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve IGA 2026-093 with ADOT as stated, and to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for approval of item 6A. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Item B is consideration to approve resolution 1925. Is a call of election for the August 4, 2026 primary election and November 3rd, 2026 general election. Shelley, can you read resolution number 1925, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Resolution number 1925, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Globe, county of Gila, state of Arizona, designating election dates and purpose of election, designating the deadline for voter registration, designating the place and the last date for candidates to file nomination papers. Is council pleased with that reading?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the call of election officially announces and authorizes the city of Globe to participate in the 2026 elections, primary and general. This resolution establishes the legal framework to participate in the elections and allows the city of Globe to place council seats on the ballot. And this year we have District 3, District 4, District 5, and District 6 will be on the election. The dates to file nomination paperwork with the city clerk's office, the last date to file would be, or the time frame to file those nomination paperworks with my office would be March the 9th through April the 6th. Candidates wishing to run can pick up packets at any time and circulate after they filed the statement of interest with the city clerk's office, but the time to file the nomination papers are within those timeframes. So the last date to file is April 6th, 2026, 5 o'clock.
Questions, comments, motion? Or is?
Do we need a motion?
Oh, do we need, we don't,
I think we're going to just move this motion, move this forward to the next available council meeting.
Okay.
We're not going to waive the rules. That gives two public announcements, just to be totally transparent.
Make a motion to approve as stated.
So,
It'll be on the February 10th, we'll have this again.
To move it to February 10th.
I'll second that.
Final approval.
we have motion and second for approval of moving forward item 6B to February 10th, meeting. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed.
Thank you,
Shelley.
Mr. Mayor. Who made the second motion? I didn't hear that. Okay,
Mike.
thank you.
It's always working.
I don't know how you catch them sometimes.
Yeah.
She's fast.
Yes.
7, action item 7A, consideration to approve additional funding in the amount of $111,466 to the Arizona Department of Transportation for additional design costs on the Broad Street Sidewalks Transportation Alternative TA project to be funded through account 128052200 excise tax capital outlay construction. Travis.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. In an infrastructure committee meeting that we had 1 or 2 meetings ago, we brought to your attention that the Broad Street sidewalk project needed to be further designed for what we intended to do for Broad Street. And so with that, we had to return the construction funding that we were awarded. And we were happy to do so because we know now with this continuing of this design, we're probably going to need to ask and request for more construction funding, which the grant cycle is coming up here in the next month and due, I believe, in March. So it does give us an opportunity to capture more funding potentially, but we did have to cover the additional cost for the redesign since the original design cost that was allocated through the grant that when we went to get the grant for the design is drying up. And so with that said, we were originally quoted about $160,000. I think at the infrastructure committee meeting, we were able to reduce it down to at least the $111 and $466 that you see in the agenda. So we're just looking to fund that so we can finish design and move forward with the construction.
Questions?
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to go ahead to approve additional funding in the amount as stated to ADOT for additional design costs to be funded through account number 1280-5200 excise tax capital outlay construction.
second.
Motion second for approval of item 7A. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed.
Thank you, Travis.
Item 7B, consideration to approve change order number 1 and 2 for contract number CS 20260035 with Apache Underground and Excavating LLC to resolve and separate sewer common line for a total amount of $35,417.31 using the sewer common line replacement account 5180-52203 and approve a budget adjustment reducing the sewer project reserve account 5180-53002 by $100,000 and increasing the sewer common line replacement account 5180582203 by $100,000 for this and other sewer common line issues for fiscal year 26. Travis.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. This was one of our last big common sewer lines that are under the current WIFA clean water loan that we have. And so we're finally closing that out after this project once we get this, if we can get this approved. And so there wasn't quite enough funding to cover the entire project. I believe in August we came forward to request additional funding to cover that, but since then there were additional costs with these change orders. And I want to commend actually Apache Underground for doing this while they're also doing the emergency projects that they were doing from the flood event as well. But These are just to cover the change order and the additional cost to finish that project.
Questions for Travis?
Nope.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve change order number 1 and 2 for contract number CS 2026-0035 with Apache Underground as presented.
Second?
Motion second for approval of action item number 7B. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item C, consideration to ratify contract number CS 2026-0083 with DJ's Companies Incorporated, executed under the City of Globe's Emergency Declaration Resolution 1921 for the use of the back trucks to clear debris and mud in the sewer main lines caused by the September 26, 2025 flood event for a total contractual amount of $37,925. 75% of this cost will be reimbursed by DEMA, contingent on eligibility requirements through account number 2080088008 DEMA 2025 flood. The remaining 25% will be funded from account 518051296 DEMA 2025 flood match. Travis.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. It's just, this is one of those early responders that, you know, as we're going through the invoices and making sure we have the information we finally got to bring forward to ratify for the work they've done within the first few weeks of the flood event.
Mr. Mayor, if there are no other comments or questions, I motion to approve item C as read.
Second.
Motion second for approval of action item 7C. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Go ahead, Mike.
These are the vac trucks. Is this the same type of vac truck we just bought? So where are we with our people being ready to use that vehicle?
John, do you want?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive to rent those damn things, so we want to probably get our guys.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just reference to, this was one of the initial, as you remember in presentations that I shared with all of you. We had actually already were in the process of receiving our truck, but during the flooding event, that we actually were not authorized to utilize our own equipment because the training had not been established at that point. These phone calls were actually to this contractor, and this was even prior to Apache Underground coming in and helping us as well. So at one point, we actually had 4 back trucks. But yes, these phone calls are very expensive without having the equipment. Our staff has been diligently working now since then with our local projects and what we're doing. We've had some backups, and they've actually out there and they have been trained. So they're actively using that. They just used it last week on a sewer issue.
So everybody's trained and we're using her, huh?
Yes, the staff members that we have, and then we actually have CDL driver that actually got certified shortly after the floods. So yes.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and John, some of these vac trucks are bigger than the ones that we use. These are longer reach, and were they not a larger?
Some of them have a little bit more capacity, but the one thing that was helpful for when Tolleson came and actually worked in the area, they were actually able to utilize ours, and then that's where staff actually did some hands-on training with them because their truck was actually, per the dealership, that staff was actually trained in the same type of equipment, so we're able to get it out there sooner. Otherwise, we would have had to bring another truck in.
Yeah, good deal.
And then, Mr. Mayor, members of council, John, a lot of this work was done on the weekends too, wasn't it?
Yes.
So that's why you might see a higher rate because, I mean, it was 7 days a week for about a month there.
Yeah, this contract specifics actually is through DJ's, but he has a contractor that comes from Phoenix for this work. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to add to that too, a lot of the work that was done during the recovery, not enough staff, equipment, so you need additional equipment as there's multiple sites going on. So even if we had our staff trained, one truck wasn't going to take care of it all. So we had to bring in other outside help.
No, I was just curious if we'd got our people trained, so if we have an emergency come up, just a single one like that, we're ready to go. Cool, great.
Yeah, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Action item number 7D. Consideration to ratify contract number CS 20260084 with Apache Underground and Excavating LLC, executed under the City of Globe's Emergency Declaration Resolution 1921 for the repair of a collapsed sewer pipe at 1100 North Broad Street caused by the September 26, 2025 flood event for a total contractual amount of $53,355. 75% of the cost will be reimbursed by DEMA contingent on eligibility requirements through account 208008008 DEMA 2025 flood. The remaining 25% will be funded from account 51805126 DEMA 2025 flood match. Travis.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. This is one of two Apache Underground contracts. The reason we kind of kept them separate because this was more of a specific project of the flood event because of the collapsed sewer pipe as they were jetting through the lines through the creek. If you recall, the first contract that we did was the first half of going through the creek and going through those sewer lines. This was kind of offset from that, but it was calls from the flood of collapsing that pipe. And then when we get to the next one, it's a continuation of the first contract. But this was a specific location.
Mayor, I would move to approve item E as presented.
Second?
Got a motion second for action approval of item 7D.
D. Sorry.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Item E, consideration to ratify contract number CS 2026-0085 with Apache Underground and Excavating LLC, executed under the City of Globe's Emergency Declaration Resolution 1921 for the continuation of emergency sewer infrastructure repairs caused by the September 26, 2025 flood event for a total contractual amount of $658,871. 75% of this cost will be reimbursed by DEMA contingent on eligibility requirements through account 208008008 DEMA 2025 flood. That's twice, isn't it? 20, okay. The remaining 25% will be funded from account 51805126 DEMA 2025 flood match. Travis.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. This is the second of the two, and as I was stating earlier, this is the continuation of the first contract, just because since they were doing a lot of work, we had to kind of break this up as Apache Underground was putting a lot of funding from their own funding to make this happen, so we decided to break it up in portions from a contract standpoint. But they are completed with the work, so.
Just a question, do we still have a lot of outstanding invoices? I guess we're catching up with all these and trying to.
It should be on, did we pass that out? Okay, so let's.
So you have remaining invoices and what?
So, Danny, do you want to jump up there? Yes. Take one, pass it down. I think, I would direct Danny, you talk about what we have left with Apache Underground, since this is an Apache Underground conversation, but this kind of walks through everything.
I believe that the 653,000 is the remainder of what we have at this time from Apache Underground. I'm not sure that we're gonna get any more, because the work has been finished for about a month now.
For the floods.
Yeah, the flood work that they were doing has been completed for about a month now, I think. I'm not aware of any others that are coming, so I think this 653,000 is the final on them. There are very few invoices that we have left, as you can see on that. I mean, we've, for the most part, paid everything that we've gotten. If they are still on that list, we're waiting on contract ratification mainly, is the reason they're still unpaid at this time.
So this list of the paid, these are all the ones we have paid already?
Yes.
And then these.
Just on the back, on that section.
Oh, then. So unpaid is just on the bottom, okay.
So we've spent
$1 million.
1,317,000 plus. Damn, I hope we had it all.
And we still have about a little over 2 million to go.
Did you print it tonight?
You stuttered on that one, that's
You have, your staff is working to stitch this together very
That's all
well.
that extra time, yeah.
Danny, this, just one question on American Fence Company, is that an ongoing since we have fencing up, or is that, are we still paying for fencing up? Is that us?
I
paying?
believe that what we're still paying for is Sunbelt though, isn't it? Sunbelt?
That's on a temporary
That's on
dump
monthly.
site, so that's securing that.
Oh,
site.
that's on the dump site. How about the downtown, where we have, wrought iron, or we're paying for that too then? Okay,
We're trying to reduce that as fast as we can, but
Yeah.
it's important.
okay. Wow.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is just a small sample of the documentation and the financial calculations and keeping all this straight, tracking it, getting, at some point, auditors come in and look at this, and we'll be ready to go. So we work with the team, but kudos to both Danny for keeping this all organized, and for Travis, who's been pumping out these contracts. The work has been done, he's gotta do a contract, he's gotta get it all together for Danny so she can check it and bring it forward, and the both of them, excellent job. We're so lucky to have them both on our team.
Yeah.
As with all our team working this flood recovery.
Excellent job.
People just realize the amount of documentation and complexity it takes to get this disaster that our staff has learned from. It's amazing. We commend you all.
Yeah, the state and the federal government have strict guidelines. They want to make sure that there's no fraud or abuse, and so they've had these rules put in place that we have to comply with, and we will comply.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
No, it's,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
it's
to
great
go ahead.
documentation. It makes us look good.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to ratify contract number CS 2026-0085 as stated, sir.
Second.
Motion second for approval of action item 7E. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Danny, thank you.
Item 8 is late agenda items. We don't have any?
We have none, Mr.
Second call to the public. Do we have anybody online or?
Let me check real quick.
I have to text Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Alexandra White. I would like to suggest that a workaround in regard to the use permits requiring state licensing be considered. I have stated my reasoning to the zoning committee as well. I would like consideration to allow city use permits without daycare DES licensing involved. I would also like to address the within 600-foot rule. As my neighbor and I are the only ones that this current note applies to, I propose a survey from neighbors with signatures to allow use of our cul-de-sac for one daycare and one preschool.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think P and Z is going for final, has not approved it finally yet.
No,
One more.
February 4th,
And then February 4th will be P and Z, and then it'll come, I think, on the
24th of February.
the 4th of February to council. Okay, so, and what the situation is there's neighboring daycare centers and that pre-existing. So I don't want to, say it's a call to the public, but we will have a chance to address them directly, and P and Z and council have a chance to address them. So there's many options to address this topic.
Okay.
Is there another one?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one more regarding the daycare. Hello, my name is Sylvia Geiser. I would like to discuss the child care ratios that were discussed at one of the meetings that I went to. Also, the amount of children that can come to a home child care throughout the day. I hold a state daycare license, and I'm licensed to care for 6 children 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Therefore, I'm able to provide 3 shifts in one day as long as I'm not over ratio. I am a participant with First Things First, and I'm rated a 5-star program. DES and First Things First expect me to provide education for these children in my care. As an educator and daycare provider, I'm allotted 6 for ratio, and you allot 5. Also, I would like to discuss the 600-foot rule limiting businesses providing childcare or preschool. This will be a disservice to our community and most of all, the children. Having a child care close to me allows children to come to my preschool that would not have the opportunity otherwise. All children deserve the right for early childhood education, which includes my child care and preschool.
And same, again, the process is ongoing and council will be directly involved.
Future agenda items? I mean, scheduling the meetings, I'm sorry.
Nothing we know of out of the ordinary. I thank council for the two Wednesday nights through January, but starting in February, we'll be going back to Tuesday nights, the 10th and the 26th.
Okay. Future agenda items, I do have one. I get a lot of calls also about our childcare in our area, and I am concerned of us limiting, and I know you say it's in the process of planning and zoning. Is there any way we can see, can we, I'd like to have a copy, I don't know if anybody would like to see what the current is, what the proposed is, because I would like to study it. I'd also like an update on the Head Start building behind DeMarcos. We have a tremendous deficit of childcare in our area, and that's a building that apparently they have some investors that want to open it up. We just need to see where we're at with it. So if we can put that on a future agenda item or get some information.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, on the childcare, I'd be happy to distribute the documents. So we need to kind of see where P&Z lands, so you'll know where you pick it back up. And then you have ultimate, it's an agenda item that you can, move forward, modify, ask for more information. There'll be many opportunities. But let's see if we can get you some initial information to get you up to speed so you can represent the city and know the issues.
I think that's the biggest calls that I get, the childcare they're concerned about, and I would be too. We don't have childcare in our area. We need to be open to options within it. So, and I guess they've had public hearings and stuff like that. We had participation with that.
We've had 5 separate public hearings, it's been discussed at this point 5 times with P&Z, and we had that. We had I think last week we had a educational information session. We had 3 people attend, and this did not come up, at least directly like it has now. But that doesn't mean these cases, we know about these cases and are aware that there's going to be, and I can't speak any more to it because I don't know what the options are. I don't want to, I don't know enough to tell you where we're at and what's going on, other than we're aware of these concerns and working through the process.
Any other future agenda items? No? Motion to go into executive session?
Motion made.
Second. Motion second to go into e-session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And sorry.
Mayor, just so you know, we did put a possible action item, but we will not, the way this is going to go in e-session, there is no scenario where we would come back out with action.
Okay.
So once we exit e-session, we'll come out and adjourn.
Okay.
That'll be it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.